Hey, Grace Fellowship House Churches, how are you today? Welcome to Follow, the House Church Study Guide that we're starting together. Over the next 8 weeks, we're going to journey through the Sermon on the Mount together. And it's really kind of a great thing. All of us in our small groups, in our house churches, as well as together on a Sunday morning, we're going to be looking at the same passage of Scripture. The Sermon on the Mount, this is a little daunting, I got to be honest with you. The Sermon on the Mount is simply one of the most famous passages of Scripture. It's also a pretty deep part of Scripture, and it's just a little daunting to sort of lead us through, but thankfully God is leading us. Now, tonight or today, we are looking together at the Beatitudes, the first several verses, and it's a word of blessing, Jesus' word of blessing that he starts for us. If the Sermon on the Mount is famous, the Beatitudes are even more famous. I would think everyone in the world, almost, so many people that you've met have heard, blessed are the meek, or blessed are the peacemakers, or something like that. Well, what does this all really mean? What is Jesus really saying? What does that mean for us? What are the blessings that he promises to those who are meek, or persecuted, or mourning, or all of the other 8? What is God up to here at the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount? So that's what we're going to dive into today. I want to say 2 things as you go through this study. These are just brief introductory videos. First thing is, there's a lot of discussion you're going to have. You might not make it through all the material that's in your study guide. That's okay. If you're sort of a type A person who wants to get everything, that's all right. Go ahead and do it at home. That's okay. Let's start. Let's see where God leads your group from the same starting point. And if you can't get it all finished, do it on your own in your quiet times. And then as we gather on Sunday, we'll hear that passage together. And it's amazing to me how God always teaches us something new. And that's the second thing, is that yes, we're doing it alone in our house churches, each of us. Maybe spilling over the last couple of questions might be in your own quiet times in the rest of the week. But together on Sunday morning, we're also going to learn the same passage. Think of how God must love that, to watch Grace Fellowship Church grow together in unison, together, and tackle the same part of his eternal word each week. So it's going to be neat. It's going to be rich. Watch God work. This is the third year we've done this in January and February, and you watch God work. At Christmas, I got a book called The Power of Habit, and I hadn't thought much about it. I wonder, the person who gave it to me, what kind of message they were trying to give me. But as I've been reading it, it's fantastic. One thing I learned is that about upwards of 40% of what you and I do in our days, just our habits. It just comes from who we are. Okay, why do I talk about that? Because what if over the next 8 or 9 weeks, as we go through the Sermon on the Mount together, what if you made it a habit to be at house church? What if you just made that a non-negotiable part of who you are? Just like some of us bite our nails without thinking about it, or some of us will always do the dishes right after supper because they don't want to see the dirty dishes all evening. That's just a habit for some people. What if you and I made getting together with the bite-sized group that God has you in right now? What if we just made that the habit we have? It's amazing. I think at the end of the day, we might even be able to write a new beatitude. Blessed are those with good habits, because they're going to enjoy God more than anyone else. So as you go, think about how God would have this time in your week be a new habit for you, or a renewed habit. And as you look tonight at the Beatitudes, just watch as God blesses you as you break open his word. Take care.